You're standing in front of your closet right now. Maybe not literally, but you do it every morning without thinking, pulling out a shirt, a pair of jeans, something that feels right for the day. You don't question it. You've never questioned it. Clothing just feels like something humans do. But here's the thing. For the first few million years of human existence, nobody wore anything at all. Not a scrap, not a leaf, nothing. So what changed? And why did it stick? The answer isn't what you think. It's not modesty, it's not shame, and it's almost certainly not the cold. At least, not the cold you're imagining. Go back roughly 170,000 years. Your ancestors are living through one of the most brutal climate events in human prehistory, a volcanic winter. Temperatures have dropped, food sources are collapsing. The human population itself may have bottlenecked down to just a few thousand individuals. Some researchers believe we came terrifyingly close to extinction. And somewhere in that window, scientists have pinpointed it using one of the strangest research tools you'll ever hear of. Humans started wearing clothes. The tool was lice. David Reed, a parasitologist at the University of Florida, spent years studying the evolutionary divergence between head lice and body lice. They're the same species, almost, but body lice evolved one key difference. They need clothing to survive. They lay their eggs in fabric, not hair. So when body lice first split off from head lice, clothing had to already exist. Reed and his team dated that split to around 170,000 years ago. That's your first outfit. Somewhere in sub-Saharan Africa, during a population collapse, your ancestor put something on their body for the first time. And it wasn't because they were cold where they were standing. Here's what most people miss. Early clothing wasn't about surviving the climate you were living in. It was about surviving the climate you were walking into. Anthropologist Ian Gilligan at the University of Sydney has argued this point for years. The earliest garments were probably draped hides or wrapped plant fibers, loose and simple, used when humans were moving through unfamiliar terrain or traveling into regions with harsher temperatures. Not a daily outfit, a tool for exploration. Think about that differently. Clothing didn't make you sedentary, it made you mobile. It let you go places your naked body couldn't survive. Every mountain range you crossed, every cold river valley you settled, none of that happens without fabric. Clothes didn't follow human migration. In a very real sense, they enabled it. But something else was happening too, and it's harder to pin down with lice genetics. Your skin. Go back far enough and your ancestors had dark, dense body hair, just like every other primate. Then, somewhere between 1.2 and 1.7 million years ago, something unusual happened. You lost most of it. Nina Jablonski at Penn State has studied this transition extensively. As early hominins moved into open savanna environments and started running longer distances, pursuing prey, covering ground, competing for resources, the hair became a liability. It trapped heat. It interfered with the sweating system that made humans such remarkable long-distance hunters. So the hair went, and the skin underneath, exposed now to direct equatorial sunlight, darkened with melanin to protect the DNA beneath it. So for roughly 1 million years, your ancestors were essentially hairless, dark-skinned, and completely naked, perfectly adapted to where they were. The clothes come later. It comes when they start leaving. And here's where it gets strange, because once you put clothes on, something happens to the brain that has nothing to do with warmth or survival. You start thinking about what you're wearing. You start noticing what other people are wearing. Anthropologists have documented this pattern across virtually every culture on Earth. The moment a society has clothing, it develops status signals around clothing. Who wears what materials are rare, what colors are reserved for whom. The Inca restricted certain dyes. Egyptian linen quality denoted rank. The Roman toga's exact draping communicated class distinctions in ways every citizen could read at a glance. Your brain didn't invent fashion because it was bored. It invented fashion because your brain is a social computer, and once clothing existed, it became the most visible signal in any group. Who has access to resources? Who has skill? Who belongs to which tribe? Clothing became a language before any written language existed. Which brings you back to your closet. When you reach for something this morning, you're not just getting dressed, you're participating in a 170,000-year-old system of survival signals that started with a volcanic winter, a shrinking population, and a parasite that needed fabric to lay its eggs. You're deciding, in about 4 seconds, how to tell every person you meet today exactly who you are and where you fit. Your ancestors did the same thing with ochre-dyed hides on the edge of a collapsing world. The clothes changed. The calculation didn't.